Anything else?
Yeah, just kind of along the lines of the discussion we had earlier. And the things that we are taught. We're taught life is hard, that it's supposed to be hard. We're taught that in order to learn lessons, we have to go through the school of hard knocks, and that every bump on the head is meant to teach us something. And in some respects, that is true. The things that you go through in life are, especially younger, are supposed to teach you how to interact with the world. But I would really argue that it doesn't necessarily have to be overly difficult, because you can ask, the god or goddess of your understanding, the universe, whatever it is that you would ask, you can ask that thing for your lessons to come easy. You can release your attachment to having to do it hard. And you can even start to change your thinking and the way that you think about it. You can expect things to come easier. And, there's a lot of scientific backing that says our perception of our reality really, really shapes how we experience the world. And so if I want to experience the world in a way that is enjoyable, that is satisfying, that is optimized and beautiful, and all of the good things that I desire for my life to be, then one of the best ways for me to really start getting that is to start looking for it instead of looking for the bad things. To start turning your mind toward, you know what, it's not hard. My lessons come easy. My life is my life. And then to think forward, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
Think forward in a way that is absolutely driven toward what you want. Positively driven.
Right, and I think that in doing this, what we're not saying is that we're not saying that there aren't tragedies, and that there aren't loss, and there aren't difficult childhoods, and there isn't bad things that happen in this world, because bad things happen all the time, and bad things happen to good people, and we'll discuss that on a different fireside chat in regards to how it is you can start to change your thinking about the reality of this particular planet, and how to live in a positive environment even though negative things have happened to you. So in adapting that positive attitude doesn't mean that we are just blinded and have absolutely no basis in reality. What it means is that you look at a particular situation and you make a decision to turn away from the negative. One of the things that's happening, there's a lot of political debate on TV, and it's all about how we're going to tear the next person down. And I want you to know that your life doesn't have to be a TV episode. It doesn't have to be a reality TV episode, and it certainly doesn't have to be a political episode. So you can look at those things and understand why they're doing those things to one another, and still decide that that's not the way that you're going to conduct your own life. So that's another way of changing your thinking. And one of the things that in awareness that you have is you're not quick to form an opinion about something. So because opinions come and go, it's the facts that tend to stay the same. So I can have an opinion, for example, that the moon's made out of green cheese, but that's just an opinion. It's not quite up yet.
Yeah.
So as I have an opinion about that, somebody can bring me back into factual evidence. So one of the things in regards to being just aware of your own thinking is to notice how many times that you have an opinion about something. And then asking yourself, if you didn't have an opinion, would you just be curious? So if somebody tells me a story about their life or a tragedy that's happened to them, I don't form, or at least I try really hard not to form an opinion right away. I become curious and I ask questions, because I don't want to form an opinion right away, because I want to make sure that I can build factual evidence or facts into what it is that happened to them along the way. So when I do that, when I don't form an opinion right away, I am left then in that state of observing my own thinking and making sure that I'm not trying to put my opinion on somebody else's experience. So that's that's just another way of how awareness works in starting to create your own positive life. And as you create your own positive life, you are, again, trying to be aware of those things that are not positive. And as you become aware of things that don't work for you, that don't bring you happiness, that don't bring you peace, that don't bring you joy, you start to then at least question whether or not you want to continue in those activities or those relationships. Sometimes it can be really difficult to change a job, but you just start asking yourself questions. And the question isn't, is this worth it or not? The question is am I fulfilled doing this? Am I fulfilled in this relationship, in this work experience, or in this particular environment? If I'm not fulfilled there, if I am constantly not feeling peaceful, I can change my own thinking, but sometimes I need to change my environment also. Well, we actually are starting to get a feed of some people that have actually joined. And one of the things that you can do is you can, hit your thumbs up button, or you can click your comment section and you can make comments about what it is that we're talking about and ask questions too. I think the Facebook Live is kind of new for everybody. So you can send this off to your friends. Or again, if you're uncomfortable with that, you can just, again, do a thumbs up, and that just helps other people to see that there's some kind of interaction going on. And no, I actually have to lean forward to be able to see that. This year was the year of glasses for me. And so I have found that certain things, especially at night, I don't see as well. But I'm not willing to give up my fireside chat time yet. So one of the things that Kristin mentioned, though, that I really want to kind of stress again is that one of the things that I learned many, many years ago is that if you can, I was always told that I had to learn things the hard way, and I was that was screamed at me as a child. And I want you to know that I began to really think and believe that that was the only way that I could have positive change in my life, was to go through these absolutely horrendous experiences. So I had to learn along the way that I could actually ask, so again, to the God of your understanding, or to the universal life force or creative mind, whatever it is that you believe in, I actually asked for my lessons to come to me easy. And it was amazing. Because I was exhausted and I didn't need any more hard lessons. I think at some point it doesn't become lessons that are hard, don't actually help encourage you. What actually ends up happening is that you end up with post-traumatic stress disorder, and then your brain doesn't function well at all. So hard lesson after trauma after hard lesson after trauma doesn't lots of times turn on your prefrontal cortex. It doesn't make you any smarter. It doesn't make you any wiser. And so what I started to do was I started to actually pray for my lessons to be made easier, for the right teachers to show up in my life, for the right information to show up in my life, so that I wouldn't have to experience those traumatizing lessons anymore, because I was done with that. I didn't want to do that anymore. So as I told you at the beginning of this, mind, body, and spirit, I told you that we would talk a little bit about the mind, and a little bit about the spirit without seeming too awful preachy to you. And that was the substance that I wanted to get on a spiritual level. And again, you can choose the mindfulness area, you can choose the spiritual area, you can choose the body effect. One single change in your life, again, one drop in a bucket of really, really dirty water, one clean drop of water is all it starts to start making positive change in your life. And it's not hard. And it comes very, very easily. And you don't have to then beat yourself up if you don't do it for 21 days in a row. That's not how you start making positive change in your life. You make positive change by just being aware that you want to change just one thing. Now, if you choose to change a whole bunch of things, you can do that. And I certainly have always excited for people that want to make large leaps. And if you make really large leaps, you'll make really large positive changes, but it doesn't have to be that way.